Hey, we're all gonna get laid.
All right.
All right. Happy
Love it.
Halloween.
Happiest of Halloweens. I keep
Well, not
forgetting
for the
it's
people
actually
listening, I guess. But
Halloween. Well,
for us, it's Halloween.
They
right
had
now.
it already.
Yeah.
It's never too late for a happy Halloween, right?
Happy Halloween. Happy November.
Yeah, we got. Let's see, we're storming away towards Christmas, Nathan.
Yeah, we're working our way towards
I think
Christmas.
Jess told me we have like less than 70 days or something until Christmas.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's
It's
wild.
like 70 or so days till I'm in another country.
Yeah.
70 or so
Same,
days
actually.
until our
Same.
alpha is due. Damn. It's gonna be a
Christmas,
busy
there's going to be a
stretch.
little hiatus around Christmas, I think.
Yeah, we might not have a choice. Both of us may be absent our home nation.
Yeah. But we'll do one big episode when we come back to recap everything we've missed.
Oh man, that's gonna be a nightmare.
It's going to be terrible.
It's gonna be a 3-hour ep.
Maybe we'll split it into 2 eps. Who knows?
Our first double parter in a week.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Part 1, part 2. Ooh, fancy.
All right. Well, hopefully we don't have to make this a part 2. I will let you get to telling us about some NBA games, my friend.
All right. I kind of have a type with big men. So I just got a few games here that we're going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about all of them because, that's a lot of work. Milwaukee, they beat Atlanta. They're still undefeated, 5-0. They're the only undefeated team in the NBA now.
That's impressive.
That is impressive, especially after 5 games. Like normally teams drop down to 1 or 2 around now. But yeah, 5-0. So that's pretty impressive. It's mainly Giannis because I think Chris Middleton's still injured.
Well, Giannis should be going 5-0.
Yeah, Giannis and Drew Holiday are kind of just carrying this team. Milwaukee's definitely a title contender right now. Definitely probably favorites, I would say. But there are a few other teams that might come after them.
Definitely, probably, and that makes me not want to believe you. Not gonna lie to you, buddy.
They are title favorites right now.
There you go.
There you go. But there are likely other teams that will also put pressure on them. Like Cleveland, actually. Since losing their first game to Toronto, they've gone on a 5-game win streak.
There you go.
They're 5-1 now. Donovan Mitchell looks incredibly good. Darius Garland still isn't back. And Evan Mobley and Jared Allen look like the best power forward center duo in the league.
What happens when they are back to full strength? Does this continue? Like when Darius Garland comes back, does this take another step?
Maybe. I would see Cleveland as the 1 or 2 seed based on how they're playing right now. If they keep this up, and if they're better when Darius Garland comes back, they could easily be the 1 seed. Without LeBron, that's impressive. Because without LeBron, Cleveland has never been the 1 seed.
Yeah, that's true. That's a sad fate to realize, but...
Yeah, maybe when Colin Sexton said LeBron should come back to Cleveland, he was right. Except, Colin Sexton's not in Cleveland anymore. So,
which is hilarious.
So it's Darius Garland's team now.
Well, I kind of thought they were going to pick Sexton over Garland, to be honest.
I mean, that's what they were originally going with. They were going to pick Sexton over Garland, but then Garland had an all-star year. So
yeah, I know.
That kind of Colin Sexton has yet to have an all-star year, so it kind of skews.
Do you think he's going to? Like I've seen, and this is stupid. I've seen some simulations of his career, and they don't often go very well.
No, I think he's stuck as a perennial 6-man.
I do as well.
Which is a little unfortunate. I would have liked to seen more from Colin Sexton because he clearly has the drive to be better.
He does.
He just doesn't have the talent, I guess.
Well, and it's weird because he seemed like he had the talent.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure. Like
I would have drafted him where he got drafted.
Absolutely. I guess that's just the nature of like pro sports, but it is sad.
Philly starting to find their groove. Sixers now sit at 3-4 following their wins over Toronto and Chicago. In the back-to-back Toronto series, they traded one and one apiece. It's nice to see Philly kind of trying to starting to figure it out. Not only because I had them as my title favorites at the beginning of the year, but
partly
just because I don't know, you don't like seeing good teams just suck.
No, it does suck, but when your team isn't that good, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's I don't know. Basketball is just, I feel like this is every sport, but basketball is just better when everyone's good.
It really is. It's one of the few sports that I think you really notice a difference when there's, balance across the league versus when there isn't.
Yeah, for sure.
Baseball's always got top heavy and bottom heavy, and it's kind of what they're used to. In football, there's just not enough talent to make teams balanced.
Yeah, there's literally not enough starting quarterback caliber people to fill every team.
No, there isn't, as we'll get to later today.
This is how you get Mitch Trubisky playing. But we'll move on from. We'll get to that later. Yeah, the Nets of woes continue as their loss streak grows to 4 in a row now. They lost to Indiana last, which pushed them to 1-5. And we'll get to Indiana just after this. But you have Kyrie and KD.
There shouldn't be a situation you're in.
I would say Ben Simmons, but honestly, Ben Simmons has looked terrible this year too. There was a report came out from scouts recently that apparently Ben Simmons looks like he's afraid of contact. And I believe it too. But you're Ben Simmons.
It's kind of like you have to do that if you're going to.
That's kind of your play style. You can't shoot, so obviously you can't avoid contact.
No.
You have to drive. That's your thing. And he's bigger than pretty much everybody else. In most scenarios,
he is kind of a freak of nature.
Athletically speaking, he is a giant. He's 6'10". He's jacked.
Yeah.
He's a big guy. You're bigger than most centers.
Mm-hmm.
You're bigger than Bam Adebayo. If Bam Adebayo plays the 5.
Yeah, based on your physical attributes alone, you shouldn't be sucking.
No. You shouldn't be afraid of contact if you're that big by any means. So, I don't know. I don't even know how to fix the Nets. I don't know what to say to fix the Nets. On paper, their team should at least be a playoff team, but honestly, they might be a lottery team this year. And if you're a Brooklyn fan, I don't know, become a Knicks fan temporarily or something.
Yeah, I guess.
Just go cheer for.
If you do make the lottery and maybe you can finally will your front office to trade these guys and get some assets, maybe it turns out
maybe you go for the Wembanyama move. Maybe
that would be a move. I'd like to see him in Brooklyn.
Trade KD and Kyrie for Wembanyama.
I would love to see Victor Wembanyama lead the Brooklyn rebuild.
That would be pretty nice.
That'd be a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun.
He'd look good in any of those Brooklyn.
I mean, anybody really looks good in the Brooklyn Nets.
They do, but he's got the swagger about him to really rock it.
That's true. So yeah, the Indiana beat them, which pushed them to 1-5. Now we're going to talk about Indiana.
They're starting more exciting, way more exciting.
They're getting a win streak right now, and they beat Brooklyn and Washington, so they're on a 2-game win streak. But it's weird to say that Indiana is must-see TV. I would put Indiana in the category of, if I'm flipping through games and I see the Pacers playing, I will stop to watch the Pacers.
Absolutely, and you should.
And I should, especially with the way that Benedict Mathurin is playing recently.
Oh, for sure.
Shout out Canadian. But he put up a career 32 points against the Nets, and Halliburton put up 26 against the Nets. So those two alone combined for 58 points that game.
Wow.
And Mathurin and Halliburton, Mathurin looks like an all-star right now. He's a rookie. He's a rookie. You should not be playing like an all-star, sir.
No. This isn't the expectation. You're
No, the
above and beyond the
expectation
Call
was,
of Duty
he
by
puts up
far.
maybe like, the expectation was like 14 to like 16 points per game, maybe, on like decent efficiency. This man's shooting like 40 something from three.
Wow.
He has the swagger to like back it up too.
For sure.
He's the guy who has both the bark and the bite, and I love that about him. So if you weren't watching Indiana before, go watch Indiana. Miles Turner might be moving. Who knows? Which might mean more stuff. Which might mean Russell Westbrook in Indiana, I think low key kind of screws up Indiana. But
yeah, don't do that. But I think that you do move him and you do get assets in return. And I think that opens up a lot of good doors for your team.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Not that Miles Turner's not a benefit to their team, I think, but you can get a lot more out of that position.
Yeah. Portland is leading the West. That's not something I thought I would be saying this season.
No, definitely not.
They're 5-1.
Crazy to me.
Dame is averaging 31, 4.8, 4.6 averages.
That's pretty wow.
Like, if we ended the season right here, it would be between him and Luka for MVP, without a doubt.
And I think Dame has to me an MVP. It's weird seeing like 5 and 5 there. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm so used to MVPs being like, you know, a more dominant big guy who's also getting 10 boards a game or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I mean, if you're a guard,
I'd love to see Dame Lillard win MVP.
Yeah, if you're a point guard and you're putting up 31, 5 and 5, like those are good numbers.
For sure.
Those are really, really good numbers. Wait till you see Luka's numbers though. They're kind of crazy. But yeah, they're tied with Phoenix leading the West. Phoenix is also 5-1. They put themselves on a 4-game win streak after losing to Portland last week. And they're currently boasting the highest points per game diff at plus 12.4.
Wow. That's impressive.
That's a crazy stat.
Tell me something. Is this a strength of schedule nod here? Is that what this is?
I looked at the schedule. I don't think it is.
Okay.
Like, but the thing is, we know Phoenix is a regular season team.
They are.
So I want to know how they do in the playoffs. Because, like, we've seen that they can be the 1 seed. We've seen that they can be crazy in the regular season. But can they translate that to the playoffs?
I mean, I've seen people call them favorites to win the finals, and that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, so because they made it to the finals 2 years ago. They lost.
I watched that. It was a great finals.
Yeah, and then they got swept they lost in Game 7 to Dallas last year.
Mm-hmm.
Because Luka just said, "This is my team now. You're all my sons. Goodbye." That was it. So we'll see how they do in the playoffs this year. I love how Phoenix is playing right now, though. I love that they're using DeAndre Ayton more.
As they should.
Booker's playing better. Chris is playing a little worse. CP3's playing a little worse. But I mean, he's also he's like 38 now.
Exactly.
Like, it makes sense. San Antonio and Utah are still good. I don't know how. They're both 5-2.
It just isn't fun. I know we said basketball's good when everybody's good, but like, you don't deserve to be good.
You have no stars on your team.
There's no reason for you to win games.
Keldon Johnson is averaging 24 points per game on 46, 44, 80.
Jesus.
And they're currently leading the Southwest Division.
MIP.
Literally, right? Yeah, I have them as a MIP candidate, like heavy MIP candidate right now. The Spurs are currently leading the Southwest Division, who has Dallas, Memphis, and New Orleans.
Wow.
And Houston, but like Houston's 1 of 5.
Okay, yeah, we don't need to talk about Houston, but
Houston doesn't exist.
the fact that Dallas and Memphis are not above the Spurs is mind.
I would even argue New Orleans should be.
I agree, but like Dallas and Memphis, you would think without a doubt.
Yeah, if Keldon Johnson is not a heavy MIP candidate right now,
for fuck's sake, man, he's almost like he should be an all-star if these numbers continue.
Because like it's one thing to put up really good numbers on a bad team, but it's another thing to put up really good
crazy splits and turn a shit team into a good one.
Like that's all-star worthy for
that's
sure.
Crazy.
I agree with that. Keldon Johnson should be an all-star.
You heard it here first.
I'm saying it right now. Keldon Johnson should be an all-star.
Place the bet.
Another guy who is a fringe all-star, I would say, is Lauri Markkanen.
This one's a harder sell to me, but
he's playing at small forward. He's putting up 21.4, 9, and 3 in their 5-2 start. So far, they've beaten the Grizzlies, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, and the Pelicans, and they've lost to the Rockets and the Nuggets. That is one hell of a start. Like, you're beating, I would say all the teams that they've beat, except for the one game that they beat Houston, every team that they've beat is easily a playoff team.
Jesus. This is kind of crazy. Like, what reason is there for San Antonio and Utah to be able to do this? Like, I know it's basketball and it's pro sports, but it's crazy to me. You know, I saw so little of this even being remotely possible.
No, in my head, they were both like bottom feeder teams, like easily. Like maybe
if they were both, 1-5 right now, I don't think either one of us would like have anything to say about that.
I wouldn't even be mentioning it.
No,
I wouldn't even be talking about them. But San Antonio and Utah are both 5-2. They're 3rd and 4th in the West right now, or something like that. Like
power to you guys. It's impressive. Keep going.
If they can keep it up, and if they make the playoffs, I will watch their series.
Cause some hell, man.
They'll get blown out probably, but I'll watch their series.
No, seriously, like all season, like be a disruptor. I don't even care if you make the playoffs. Just be a disruptor.
Literally cause problems.
It's frustrating, but it's fun.
You know what else is entertaining?
Not really.
The Lakers will not go 0-82 this season.
Going 0-82 would probably be more exciting than what they're gonna do.
That's true. It's probably more impressive. The Lakers managed to pick up their very first win last night against the Denver Nuggets, putting them at 1-5.
Huge.
And this is an interesting stat.
Showtime.
Since Russell Westbrook has come off the bench, so the past 2 games, he has averaged the best plus minus at 13.2 of his career so far.
Wow.
And the Lakers are plus 18 when he's on the court and minus 16 when he's off the court.
Wow.
But only when he comes off the bench.
Damn. So that's telling you need Russ as a bench player and you need to upgrade the starting rotation.
So Westbrook is this. Basically, what I'm hearing is Westbrook is the 6th man. If
you're Westbrook and you see these numbers, how do you not agree?
Yeah. He's playing. He's getting starter minutes. He's just not starting.
Well, that's fine. If you're getting your minutes, then this is just showing you that they're utilizing you in a much better fashion. It's only going to benefit you.
Literally,
like you guys benefiting the team.
You guys won a game.
That's crazy, man.
So maybe the Lakers figured it out. Maybe they figured out starting Russ off the bench.
I will say I've been playing a number of 2K leagues lately, and Russ seems to be put on the bench for most of them at different stages of the next decade, basically. And he's always like decent off the bench. Like he's consistently good. I don't know, man. I don't know how you don't be like, okay, well, we figured him out for the rest of the season then.
Yeah, you just don't touch it. Maybe you go out and get Miles Turner and Buddy Hield.
Whatever.
But
Russ is here. This is his position.
Yeah, Russ is your 6th man. Russ comes off the bench. He gets 32, 34 minutes a game. That's fine. He just starts on the bench.
And because then when he comes out,
he's playing against the other bench players.
Exactly.
And he's
that's
Russell
what you
Westbrook,
need.
so he's
Yeah.
clearly better. Like,
Yeah, no, he might not look like himself when he's playing NBA like games, but if he like was, around you and me, we would be like, he's a fucking superhero, right?
yeah,
Like
literally. Like,
he's still a freak human, and if you're
he's
not,
still a Russell.
top tier NBA talent, he's gonna dominate you.
Yeah, exactly. So good job, LA. I don't see him winning more than like 40 games this season,
Yeah.
but good job. You figured it out. It's a little late, honestly. Even though we're only 6 games in, it's a little late. But good job. You figured it out. And we'll just move on to Dallas, where they're 3-3. But Luka Doncic, the Slovenian magician, he's going off, Travis.
I have to take your word for it.
36.7, 9.5, 8.7 averages.
Jesus.
This is almost a triple-double. He's
almost
averaging
a 40-point triple-double, maybe.
almost a 40-point triple-double average.
Jesus Christ.
Average. Like, yes, it's only 6 games, but like that's still 6 games, averaging a 40-point, nearly a 40-point triple-double.
If you have a 6-game stretch of this at any point in your season, regardless of who you are, your name is gonna suddenly be remembered by a lot of people.
Yeah, Luka Doncic is turning the Mavericks into a threat on a nightly basis, even though it's pretty much just him.
I do have a question for you, Nathan. He's averaging 37, we'll call it. He's got a season high of 44. Yeah. That means what's his low? Like 20?
His low was, I think, 31.
31?
Yeah.
Man.
He hasn't averaged he hasn't scored under 30 points.
If Luka goes out there, gets you 30 points and maybe 10 and 10, you're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah. Yes, they're 3-3 right now, but Luka's just getting started.
That's fine. Honestly. Get a couple more guys that click, and this is a whole new team.
Yeah, I watched a few of their games. Reggie Bullock was clanking a few corner threes that he should be knocking down. Christian Wood hasn't looked too bad. Christian Wood's actually looked pretty good. He's been coming off the bench, which is honestly, I think, working. And yeah, I think just get your role players to kind of hit those open threes every so often, because if you're playing with Luka Doncic and you're a role player, you don't need to do anything, because he's gonna get the ball to you somehow.
Like Steve Kerr said, as a role player, you maybe get 5 touches a game. You got to be ready to make those 5 touches and let the rest happen.
You just got to make sure all 5 of those touches get in or go in.
At least 4. you gotta be positive here.
So. I think Reggie Bullock kind of just needs to work on his jump shot a little bit. Who else? Tim Hardaway took some bad shots.
But again, that's what I mean. You get if those 2 guys suddenly click and start doing their thing, all of a sudden this team's dangerous.
You have a finals contender right there.
Exactly. That's all it takes. It's not like they don't have the pieces to do it. They just need them to align. It's kind of like the Jays this year. It just never aligned.
Yeah. You don't need to go out and get more stars. Luka's proving that you don't need another all-star.
No, he says, I can do it myself. I just need consistency around me.
Yeah, literally. So, shout out Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
He's going crazy. It's really impressive. It's really fun to watch. I think he's still my MVP favorite, to be honest. I think Joel Embiid has lost that for me. Joel Embiid's looked kind of disappointing so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, if your team's 3-4, it's not that impressive. And given it's not, they're 3-3 as well, but fucking hell, I mean, Luka's putting up next level numbers.
Yeah. These are literal video game numbers.
I couldn't do this in 2K.
I wouldn't use them. This is Luka's putting up video game numbers, and it's so crazy to watch. I hope he keeps it up. I really want him to keep it up. I want Luka to win an MVP at some point. So this is good to watch. And we'll move on to a little bit of NBA controversy. I guess it's not really controversy. It's just Josh Primo got waived.
Mm-hmm.
for exposing himself to women.
He's a flasher.
He's a flasher. Apparently, he was staff members of the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, that's classy. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. As he stated that he will be taking time away from the sport of basketball to focus more on his mental health.
Yeah, as he should.
As he should, for sure. He played in 4 of the Spurs' 6 games this season, averaging 7 points. So I don't think it'll really impact them that he's not there this season. Well, for the foreseeable future.
I'd say I'm excited for his Crime and Sports episode, but they announced they're stopping that show. So
I also don't know if his crime is.
Well, no, but you know, a flasher may lead to something else. Not hoping that it does at all.
It doesn't.
I hope he fixes this and comes back and becomes a stud in the NBA and fucking spends the rest of his life giving to charity and being a good person. But
yeah, well, I hope he gets better. I don't want to see. I don't want to see Josh Primo.
That's a problem. Like you can't. Even if this was like back in the day weirdness, you can't say like that's a boy who'll be boys thing. Like you can't pull yourself out in front of your workplace associates. That's not okay.
It's definitely not. But yeah, that's. I'm not. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't know if he should. I don't know how long he should take away from the sport.
I don't know. There's a strong chance he doesn't make it back to the NBA.
There's a chance he doesn't come back to the NBA. He ends up like overseas somewhere.
This could be the end of your like professional North American basketball career.
Could be in like Latvia in 3 years.
Yeah, you can play in like Israel.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna be making an NBA return, at least soon, if not at all. So, yeah. Moving on. Lakers retired George Mikan's 99, number 99.
I had to look this guy up, Nathan. I never heard of this number.
That they retire him. Spent 7 seasons with the Minneapolis Lakers. He averaged 28.3, 13.4, 2.7.
A monster.
He was a 4-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 3-time scoring champ, and a Hall of Fame inductee.
How are you a 4-time All-Star but a 6-time All-NBA player?
I don't really know. It's because it was early basketball. He was like playing in like the 50s or 60s or whatever.
I guess. He was born in 24 in Joliet, Illinois.
He was like the OG big man. Like he was like the first center, really. Yeah, he made his NBA debut in 1949.
He was an NBA All-Star MVP, my friend.
This is true. Yes, he was.
He had
5-time champ as well. I forgot to mention
7 NBL, BAA, and NBA championships. For what it's worth.
Yeah, 5 chips is quite a few.
4-year DePaul guy. He was playing there, I guess, at the end of World War II. That's cool.
Yeah, I looked it up.
No, but he seems like a really interesting guy as a player, but he looks like George McFly, if I'm being honest.
He does kind of look like George McFly.
Like he plays in horn-rimmed glasses and stuff. Has the little like slicked back short hair.
Like obviously, it's the accomplishment isn't as impressive as it would be nowadays, just because it was like very early basketball.
Well, we have no perspective on what it actually was.
Exactly, but like this is like the first big man. This is like the first center, really. So it's about time, really, that the Lakers retired his number. Because especially if you won 5 chips for them, like
Nathan, what happened before this was like what the center position was?
It was just kind of tall guys that would grab rebs, and then
it was just like the tallest guy on the team who was like 2 inches taller than the next guy, and
yeah, it was like the center was like 6.
It was just like your focus of what you're supposed to do is different, not like what you're physically capable of.
Yeah. It was a small forward nowadays would be a center back then.
Jesus.
Like you would be looking
I
at
know
like
people
6'6"
were
guys
smaller,
and be
but
like I could probably play the power forward.
I mean, I guess it makes more sense kind of when you think about it in context of like people were smaller. It was like not that it was less impressive, but it was just less overwhelming. I mean, a lot of these guys like lived in neighborhoods with the fans and like you'd see them
Yeah.
in their yard. Like they weren't stars. They didn't make a lot of money. Yeah, I
They
don't
were
know.
just kind of there for
It's
fun.
weird.
Like
I
they
get
were
it. Like pro sports at one time, I guess kind of was like bullshit. And those are the guys that we hail as like the all time greats.
yeah.
It's kind of funny. I don't know.
There's a lot of guys that kind of like Elgin Baylor and stuff like that. Like they kind of just played basketball because they were like, I can make money off of this.
Right.
And like that was it.
Yeah.
Like there it was
That was the
it wasn't
motivation. It was like, it wasn't even necessarily, like, I don't know, for a lot of guys, if it was a way to go to school or not, because school at the time was A, not viewed as very important, and B, cheap as shit.
yeah.
You could
So
like work in the cafeteria and pay for your tuition all 4 years.
and it wasn't even because they want like they were like, oh, I can make a lot of money. It was literally just, oh, I can make a living off of this.
Yeah, I just don't have to do something that's not fun.
Yeah, I don't have to work in a factory or I don't have to work at like
I don't need
I
to
can
go
just play.
fucking breathe coal dust in the mines.
So, I think that was probably the main reason. Like if you look at George Mikan, he was definitely the kind of guy that didn't want to work in a factory.
No, that guy's got to be uncomfortable everywhere back then. People are
Yeah,
so
that's
much
true.
smaller.
Like,
That guy's life is a nightmare.
probably gets stared at every place he goes. Like people
Oh
still
my
get stared
God,
at.
he can't get
And
into a
nowadays,
store. Like he has to like break through the front pane window to get in somewhere.
he has to get a special new door just for him.
Yeah, like
If
that's
you're like
he
6'6"
can't
nowadays, you
get in
still
a
get
car. Like back then, he's bigger than any car. He just
yeah. He probably just walked
it'd
everywhere.
be
He
like
was just,
Shaq. Like he'd have to sit in the back seat to drive something.
yeah, literally. But yeah, that's pretty much it for NBA news. George Mikan, congratulations. I know you've been passed away for a long time,
Posthumously.
but congratulations. You deserve it.
Congratulations, for sure.
And shall we move on to what's next? Hockey?
No, we're not doing hockey this week because
We're not doing hockey this week.
we frankly don't have time. NFL's going crazy. College football had some big moments, and we've got obviously the World Series, and some big stuff came out kind of just in baseball. So we've got a lot to cover here. This week in football, I'm not going to go as heavy on the stats just because, like I said, there's not as much time. It is week 8. If you listen to this and play fantasy football, you know people's stats. So I may return to it, as we get a little bit later into the season, if some guys are getting towards some season records, stuff like that. But just to help save a little bit of time, we're not going to dive in too much like that. We'll get started. Ravens beat the Bucks 27-22. Lamar Jackson had a really good rebound game. Nobody as an offensive weapon really stood out, but everybody was involved. He spread the love around, so that was good to see. Tom Brady played his first game as a bachelor and looked pretty typical for himself. A lot of yards. Good game for him. Mike Evans had a big day, but the Bucks rushing game is still totally non-existent. And before he was injured, Shaq Barrett had a sack as well. So good for him. Broncos beat your Jags, Nate. Russ was average, but Murray and Gordon both had rushing TDs on limited carries and yards, and that's kind of a theme this week. Justin Simmons and Quan Williams had interceptions, and it kind of looks like the Jags are just about out of it. They've got 2 wins on the season.
Yeah, it's kind of the expectation.
Kind of what you were prepared for, eh?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever... Honestly, I just expect like a winless season, and then any wins we get is a bonus.
Man, you should move to Cleveland. You'd fit right in. I don't know, Nate. What happens the rest of this year?
It's just I don't know.
Like
they're
sell
just
off
not
what
good.
you can at the deadline, or is it like maintain what
I
you
think
have and let the core get some experience, or
I
what's
think
going on in
maybe
Jacksonville?
get the core a little more experience. They definitely do need to make some moves at some point. I think like Trevor Lawrence is obviously a major piece moving forward.
Right.
I don't know. I think you rebuild a little bit, but I don't think they need to do a full rebuild necessarily because they already
They've
did that
been
to get Trevor
rebuilding.
Lawrence. Right? Like, yeah, like they already did their major rebuild. So just kind of,
I don't know, man. Looks like you've got your coach and your franchise QB. I think it's time, like,
I think
pedal
they
to the
just need
metal. You got
time.
to start making additions. You got to start winning games. Like, I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm not enough of a football guy to tell them what to do,
Yeah,
but it's disappointing in Jacksonville.
it is a little disappointing in Jacksonville, but it's Jacksonville fans are used to it.
Well, you do live in Jacksonville, Florida, so what the fuck do you expect? Dolphins beat the Lions 31-27. Tua balled out this week. 29 for 36, 382 yards and 3 touchdowns. Hill and Waddle, tons of yards. Waddle had 2 TDs, and Gesicki got to do
Gasicki.
his touchdown dance. He had a TD. Goff had a lot of yards today, no interceptions. Good for him. Jamal Williams had 10 carries, 53 yards, and 2 TDs. And like I said, this is going to be a theme. There's going to be a lot of running backs this week who had limited touches, limited yards, and scored 1 or more touchdowns.
That's crazy.
It's weird.
That's so weird.
I don't know why. It's yeah, I don't know. It's disappointing. I like to see running backs put up yards, not necessarily touchdowns. Anybody can punch it in from 1.
Yeah.
Hawkinson and Raymond averaged over 25 yards per catch. I think they both only had 3 catches, but they were upwards towards 80 yards. So really productive on their receptions. Falcons beat the Panthers 37-34. Philip Walker had great yards on limited throws, especially as kind of a replacement QB. But Dante Foreman went nuts, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. He is not one of the previous running backs we've discussed. And DJ Moore had a huge receiving day as well. Kyle Pitts looked good for Atlanta, but he was kind of about it. I know that the Falcons did end up winning, but it was just a very spread around game. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that one, to be honest with you. Vikings beat the Cardinals 34-26. Kyler Murray loves to fill out the stat sheet. It's a theme. 31 for 44, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he had 6 carries for 36 yards.
He's just getting a little bit of everything in there.
He just wants to do it all, man.
He just wants to, even the interceptions.
If he could play defense, he would. They don't let him. DeAndre Hopkins is pretty clearly the only weapon, though, so Kyler Murray can kind of do whatever he wants. I don't know if it's a matter of like system learning or something, but their new acquisition, Robbie Anderson, didn't even play. Don't know what that's about. And Dalvin Cook had over 100 yards. Kirk Cousins was solid. They both did kind of their usual thing. Jefferson almost had 100 yards. He was good. And Zadarius Smith had 3 sacks. I think he had the most sacks this week as a defensive player. Cowboys stopped the Bears 49-29. And really, I mean, the guys in Chicago who you want to do well did well. Fields was 17 for 23, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, anything like that. Herbert and Fields both ran well, too. They both had rushing touchdowns. But the Cowboys just kind of had a good day. Tony Pollard led them, 14 carries, 131 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Also, Justin Fields threw more than 20.
Yeah, he threw more than 20 passes. Yeah, it's that's what I mean. These past few weeks, he's kind of started to actually participate in the games, which is good from your quarterback.
Good job, Justin. Proud of you.
Saints shut out the Raiders 24-0. The Raiders had more rushers with negative yards than rushers with positive yards this game. Josh Jacobs was their only rusher who had positive yardage, and I think he only had like 40 or 60 yards or something. So
that's terrible.
Really unimpressive out of the backfield. It was basically just an absolute fucking mess across the board for the Raiders. For the Saints, Alvin Kamara was the top rusher and receiver. He had 3 all-purpose touchdowns and almost 200 all-purpose yards. He was pretty unstoppable, like peak Alvin Kamara. Eagles, huge, 7-0, stay undefeated. I'm hoping for an undefeated season for the Eagles.
I want them to have a
for the
fully undefeated
storyline.
season. I want it to happen.
They'd be the only team to go 17-0, right? Be the only team because 17-0 just came in this year, last year.
That's true. It was recent. Yeah. So yeah, they would be probably the first and the only.
That'd be fucking sweet, dude.
That's crazy.
Oh man, they beat the Steelers 35-13, and this game was hilarious. Najee Harris and Chase Claypool both threw successful passes for the Steelers, and Chase Claypool threw for a 1-yard touchdown.
Amazing.
So production from some other potential quarterback options. Who knows?
Chase Claypool is your new QB?
I think Steelers fans would just accept it at this point. They'd be like, all right, let's try this one. Jalen Hurts looked really good. I think he had 3 touchdowns today, over 300 yards. He was a monster. And Gardner Minshew, I don't know if you remember him. I remember him.
I do remember Gardner Minshew, yeah.
Beer drinking, mustache rocking QB got in this game for the Eagles. Miles Sanders was decent as well, but A.J. Brown was the guy today. He had 6 receptions for 156 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's kind of just having your way with the opposing defense, right? Like that's what we call that.
Yeah, it's just kind of being like, I own you now.
I don't want to use the word assault when talking about football this week, but
this is true.
It was assault like.
Yeah, it was insinuated that some assault was involved.
Patriots
it was implied.
Jets 22-17. Similar to earlier, Ramondre Stevenson was Pat's top rusher and receiver. Devin McCourty, thrown it back a few years, had 2 interceptions. And Zach Wilson did step up today, like I said he should. Sort of 20 for 41, but 355 yards. 2 touchdowns, the 3 interceptions hurts, but when Devin McCourty throws it back to prime mode, there's not much you can do.
Yeah.
But it is good to see Zach Wilson actually throwing the ball, being the quarterback, not just having 12 attempts and leaning on his running back, which
not just
can't fault him. It worked. It did work, but this is why I like my quarterback to throw, because running backs get injured a lot. James Robinson didn't do a whole lot in his debut. The running game overall just wasn't that impressive today. And Garrett Wilson and Tyler Conklin were both pretty good. Tyler Conklin had 2 touchdowns, I believe. Not as many yards as Garrett Wilson, though.
And the Bailey Zapp Mac Jones saga continues.
Oh, of course it continues. It absolutely continues. It's gonna continue all goddamn year.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a season-long thing. Maybe even next season. Who knows?
Well, knowing the Patriots, they'll go get 3 more quarterbacks this year, and they'll just fucking pull names out of a hat next season and give the starter job.
Like, oh, you're playing today.
It really doesn't matter.
It's like in House League when they had to figure out who was in net for soccer. It's just
exactly
pull a name out of the hat, and they go, oh, "Okay, you're in net today."
Show up to play ball hockey. Everybody throw your sticks at center ice. Oh fuck. Titans beat the Texans 17-10. Malik Willis, this is his first NFL start. 6 for 10, 55 yards, 1 interception. Not what you love to see, but I do think Malik Willis has way more upside than this shows.
It could have been worse.
It could have been far worse. You're positive on the completions. You threw for 55 yards. You completed your short ones. It was dispersed well. I think almost every receiver had a catch. I think if he does actually get the starting nod and gets a chance to actually play quarterback, I think he will develop into something nice. Yeah. But the problem is Derrick Henry is the one in the backfield with him, and if you have a rookie quarterback,
you have Derrick Henry,
you're just going to give the ball to Derrick Henry as they did today. They gave it to him 32 times, actually, for over 219 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I would imagine the next time Malik Willis starts, they probably give the ball to Derrick Henry.
Probably.
Seahawks beat the Giants 27-13. Geno, the man, the myth, the legend, was kind of just better than Daniel Jones today, but nobody really looked that good. I know they scored damn near 30 points, but it was just kind of like Geno was what you expect Geno to be at this point, and the Seahawks
Did you
just
know
kind of
that
outperformed.
the Seahawks and the Giants was the only game this week between two teams with a positive record?
Wow.
Which is weird because it's the Seahawks and the Giants.
That's sad, man. This is why I don't watch football. Half your league is terrible. I don't know, man. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, it's a little disappointing.
Commanders edge the Colts.
Geno's clearly the MVP.
I would love that, dude. I would fucking root for chaos if that's. I would watch football if that's what happened.
If Geno got the MVP.
Commanders edge the Colts. Speaking of just kind of uninspiring, 17-16. Taylor Heineke did look decent. He was their top rusher too, which isn't really a good thing. Terry McLaurin at over 100 yards. Great to see. Rookie Sam Ellinger, maybe not rookie, but freshly thrown in the starting position, threw for over 200 yards. 201 exactly, but no touchdowns, no interceptions. So, all right, fine. And Shaq Leonard had a pick six, and the rest of Indy's points came on kicks.
So exciting.
Yeah, kind of what you would expect to come from Indianapolis, if I'm being honest.
Gotta love football games that happen on field goals.
I fucking hate it, dude. It's happened so many times
terrible.
already this season. Where
times, yeah.
Wasn't there a game earlier this year where literally every point in the fucking game for both sides was scored on field goals? Like
it was a Thursday night football game.
Yeah.
So it was big show, only game on TV.
Fucking field goal fest.
It was just field goals.
Go watch a soccer game. 49ers beat the Rams 31-14. Jimmy G was great, and McCaffrey, Nathan, had a 34-yard touchdown pass. He also had 18 carries for 94 yards and a touchdown on the ground. So
a little bit better.
That makes up for the debut, I think, right?
Yeah.
That's what we'll call it, the debut.
I still kind of expect more from Christian McCaffrey.
You should cross the 100-yard mark, but I think you should also be crossing the 20-carry mark. So
I'm happy with what he had. So
hey, man, he's showing how versatile he is. He's dropping in there for a 34-yard TD pass as the running back. I think you're happy you got him.
He's showing that he might have an arm on him.
Oh, well, we know that Christian McCaffrey is like the
we know he has an arm on him.
You know what I mean? Like, he can do anything.
I meant accuracy on the arm, not necessarily the power. We know the power's there.
I was impressed that you got him in a position for like a surprise running back throw play where there's an option for 34 yards to be completed.
That's
normally
true.
You do that in the red zone, right inside the 10. You know, you're trying to trick that. That's impressive.
Like, here's just launch it down a third of the field.
Leonard Floyd had 2 sacks for LA. He was kind of the only Ram who looked good. And the Bills kicked the Packers while they're down 27-17. Rodgers was decent, kind of mediocre. Aaron Jones looked really great, though. And Rasul Douglas had 5 tackles, 1 sack, and 1 interception for Green Bay. So great day on the other side of the field for him. But Stephon Diggs had over 100 yards and a touchdown today, and the Bills were kind of just the Bills. Still don't know what's going on down there at Lambeau, Green Bay, but you better figure it out. I'm not going to lie. The Packers have kind of been like a staple of power for so long now.
The cheese is starting to go moldy, man.
The cheese has some fuzz on it, and it's not the good cheese fuzz.
Nope.
So
no, it's not. It's not turned into blue cheese.
Nope. Bengals and Browns played tonight at 8:15. Probably a good game to watch. Watch the Bengals kick the shit out of the Browns. Now we get some great news, Nathan. Well, great news. I don't know about that. I don't know if that's the way we should describe it.
News. They're news.
Yeah. It's news. It's definitely news.
It's 100% news.
Well, it was on the fucking cover of People magazine, I think, when I looked this up. So yeah, I'd call it news. Tom Brady and Jesus Christ, Gisele Bündchen.
I don't know, and Giselle.
München, I think, is what it is.
Okay.
I went to Germany. I should be able to somewhat get this.
I know it is an U. I don't know if it's like Buchen though.
Well, it might be Bunken, but like I feel like I'm imitating like the Swedish chef from the Muppets
I
or
don't
something
want to
if I
be.
call
I
her
don't want to be
Giselle Bunken.
disrespectful. I don't want to be disrespectful.
No, not at all. She's a lovely lady, but
Tom Brady and
from
Giselle.
all accounts anyway. But yeah, they announced and got divorced. I think basically the same day after 13 years of marriage. They were filed Friday in Glades County, Florida, in a rural location near Okeechobee. And apparently, this is a thing. Like big celebrities, if they're getting divorced, they go to some middle of nowhere like courthouse to get divorced. I guess it's to hide from media, but
if it works, it works.
Documents were filed on Friday. Divorce was made final the same day. Nathan, real one-stop shop.
Yep, they just wanted it over with.
Yeah, the marriage of the parties is dissolved because the marriage is irretrievably broken and each spouse is restored to the status of being single and unmarried. That was the judge. And I believe, this is Giselle. The decision to end a marriage is never easy, but we've grown apart. And while it is, of course, difficult to go through something like this, I feel blessed for the time we had and only wish the best for Tom always. And she did have, there's been speculation, obviously, about what it is. And it's probably all tied in with the time taken away from Buccaneers camp that we never really figured out. It's associated to the retirement. I think it goes quite a ways back because there was things in 2017 where Giselle was talking about he's played through concussions and the Patriots and his agent said no, and he said I'd prefer to keep my medical history private in typical Tom Brady fashion. So there was a whole thing about that. And then when he stopped playing, actually when they won the Super Bowl in 2017 or 2019, he did have a comment about, Giselle just like said, "What do you have left to prove?" He's like, she's right, whatever. But she's been wanting him out of the game for a while. It sounds like to for his health and to be around her family.
He left, and then he's decided, I miss football.
And then he went unfinished business mode and turned down over $300 million to fucking broadcast, and was like, "I'm gonna go win another Super Bowl." And
clearly, it's not working.
No, I don't know, man. It's strange, but it seems amicable, and I mean,
it wasn't.
If anybody's gonna have like a clean celebrity divorce, it's gonna be Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So
it's just a questionable move. Like, oh, I'm picking football over my wife.
I don't think it's been portrayed that way by either of them. Maybe we could chalk that up to what it is, but at the end of the day, like, for what it's worth, most pro athletes' marriages don't go well after retirement. And I'm not saying that would have been the case here because it's a very different life than most pro athletes have going into retirement. But most people aren't used to being around each other that much. And I think it's different here. Giselle lived, she came and lived in New England and then Tampa with him and really changed her life and stuff. And that's fine. Like, I'm sure pretty much every partner of a pro athlete does that to some extent, but I don't know. It seems like they're amicable. They both kind of said like we have a plan for the children, and that's our goal and our focus, and it always has been. And we both have passions and pursuits that we want to undertake and whatever. So
at least it ended like fine. It wasn't messy.
A messy celebrity divorce is the most annoying fucking thing in the world.
It's always normally really messy.
But no, I mean, two people of the pinnacle of their respective professions. I mean, I think they're going to be all right.
Yeah.
And not that you're ever like too old to be like upset when your parents get divorced, but it's not like they have super young children. I mean, their children are teenagers, and one of the three children is from a previous relationship Tom had, right? So
so the one as mean as it is to say, I guess one of them's kind of used to it.
Yeah, I think I don't remember his name now, but he's probably like, I've kind of been here, done this, but you weren't my mom anyway, so I don't
So
know. I'm not saying that's how it. Anyway, yeah. So
anyway, moving forward before
that's
we
a thing,
say
but it clearly didn't affect Tom's play. He's doing well. The team isn't, but he did well this week. So
yeah.
Shaquille Barrett, as I said earlier, he tears his Achilles. It's a huge blow. It's massive. It's not good. Bad for him. Bad for the team. Does not forebode well for the rest of their season. Yeah, we're in trouble down there in the Southland. Eagles acquired defensive end Robert Quinn from the Bears. Nathan, I added some pro football reference links here because I didn't really have time to go into depth on kind of their careers and such. So I figured if you want to take a look, we can take a look. And Robert Quinn, good player. He only has 1 sack and 6 tackles this year so far. But he, how old is he? 32. Yeah, he's played for a long time. He's got 102 career sacks is really impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Only had 2 years where he didn't play basically the whole season. That's impressive. Defensive Player of the Year voting. 3-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro.
Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year in 2013. That's
and
pretty
his
impressive.
nickname is Black Lightning, Elroy, or Gumby.
That's impressive. Those are good nicknames.
Those are good nicknames. I like Gumby.
Gumby's good.
Robert Gumby Quinn.
But that's a huge move for the Eagles, right? I mean, you're bolstering their defense is great, but you're bolstering your defense. And I don't think they ended up having to give up too much for him. Obviously, he was like a 32-year-old defensive end, but
yeah.
Chiefs acquire Kadarius Toney from the Giants for a 3rd and a 6th. This one it's impressive. More wide receivers for Patrick Mahomes to just throw 90-yard bombs to. He's not really played this year. Which I found surprising. If you're on the Giants roster this year as a receiver, how do you not play?
2 games, 2 receptions for 0 yards.
That's what I mean. He's earned 2.3 fantasy points. But I mean,
he's a little disappointing.
Played last year. Last year he played 10 games. He started 4 of them. I mean,
he's played 2 this year. Like, what happened?
Yeah, why? So I don't know why he's not getting utilized, but clearly they're going to take advantage, grab him. They didn't have to give up too much for him, and I think the Chiefs are always in the market for more wide receiver help.
Yeah, they could probably make use of them.
Oh, I would guarantee it.
Yeah, 20th overall, 2021 draft too.
Ooh, high draft pick. Let's go. Jamar Chase out 4 to 6 weeks with a hip injury.
That's bad.
That might affect the whole thing I said earlier about watching the Bengals kick the shit out of tonight. Yeah, that might not totally.
That might not happen anymore.
But I still think they're going to win. But it does suck to have Jamar Chase out. He makes football better. And now we can get to some college football. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk Malik Willis, but we kind of mentioned first start already. Yeah. But yeah, I also added his pro football reference there as well. Because I'm that guy. College football. Don't let Simon hear that. Unfortunately, Vince Dooley has passed away. This is a sports reference you'll want to look at, Nathan. It's his coaching sports reference. I did say this year I was going to become a Georgia Bulldogs fan, so I guess this one is going to hit home. Vince Dooley, Hall of Fame coach. He led the Georgia Bulldogs to 6 Southeastern Conference titles and the 1980 National Championship. He died at the age of 90 this week. He was honored. Sorry, Nathan?
20 bowls.
Oh, God, yeah, dude.
In 25 years, he brought them to 20 bowls.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what Vince Dooley did. And this is a good example. The university honored him in 2019 by adding his name to the field of the 95,000-seat Sanford Stadium, my friend. I haven't been in a 95,000-seat stadium.
Yeah, no. College stadiums are something else.
It's been the home to the Bulldogs since 1929, which is mind-bending. In addition, there's a statue of Vince Dooley being lifted by the players from the 1980 title team at the entrance to the Vince Dooley Athletic Complex. So you got a statue outside of his sports complex.
That has his name
Yes.
onto the field too.
From one of their most storied championships in the history of the entire school.
Amazing.
He was in attendance when they beat Alabama to win their second national championship in 2022. So he actually had won their only one to that point. That's crazy. At age 32, he joined them in 64 after he'd spent 8 seasons as an assistant at Auburn. He was the Tigers captain during his playing days as well, which is pretty cool. And he told ESPN in 2019 that he wasn't really the popular hire at the time, especially when the Georgia fans realized that their new coach with the first name Vince wasn't Vince Lombardi, which I guess you could understandably be upset about.
Yeah.
And he has a quote. He said, "I can't say that I was the most well-received coach who's ever been hired. When I look at those credentials, there's no way as an administrator that I would have hired myself. A 31-year-old freshman coach at a rival school. Now, suppose you had to hire somebody at an institution like Georgia and say this is the coach."
Yeah,
he has a point.
Yeah, he has a point there.
You get shoved into a very weird situation, but I mean, to take that chance and do it is pretty awesome on his part, and it paid the fuck off. I mean, it helps when you have, Herschel Walker as your running back, but in 1980 they started a 4-year run where they went 43-4-1, which is stupid.
That is absurd.
As many losses as they have, I don't have that many wins in my football career. So, wow. And they won 3 straight SEC titles. Dooley won numerous National Coach of the Year awards and cemented it in the 1980 National Championship with a 17-10 win over Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl to cap a perfect season, 12-0. And in 82, Herschel Walker won the Heisman and obviously became a fucking menace to society in the NFL. Dooley retired in 88 to become the athletic director and led the program to win 18 national championships and 80 SEC titles during his 25-year run in that role, which is obscene. And I mean, Georgia athletics are crazy, but to say that as the athletic director you were, affiliated with that many winning anything is insane.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts.
He's also a member of the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame and the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame. So, real sad. A true icon of college football passed away. But god damn it, that's one hell of a career we got to talk about, Nathan.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And now a big one.
More controversy.
Oh fuck yes! This is overflowing with controversy. Michigan State football players assaulted a Michigan football player in the tunnel after a game on Saturday. The Wolverines, they pretty handedly smacked the shit out of Michigan State, 29-7. And if you don't know, obviously they're huge rivals. Their games are always really fun to watch too.
Yeah.
It was caught on camera, and if you haven't seen it, it went viral. There's, 10 or so Michigan State guys just literally kicking the shit out of. It turns out it was a defensive back from Michigan, Jaden McBurrows. Reportedly, too, he wasn't the only player who was injured. Jim Harbaugh said that there was 2 players and that somebody else had a nasal issue, maybe a broken nose. But obviously we didn't see any video come out of that one, so we don't know kind of anything about what happened there. But the director did come out and say after with Jim Harbaugh that, the police have seen the videos, they're looking into it independently, and they're leaving the investigation to them for now. But it has been brought to everybody at the university's kind of awareness, and they will be doing their own investigation and all of kind of the usual rigmarole with a major event like this at a learning institute. So I don't really know what to make of it. I haven't really heard kind of what started it, but I don't think it takes that many brain cells to
To
consider,
kind of
like,
piece together
you
that this
know,
wasn't good. Like,
young 20-year-old jacked up, testosterone filled lunatics who just like ran around and hit each other for a couple
yeah,
hours. There's probably some tension. Like, I mean, I've seen sidelines explode in high school football games where we don't even have bleachers. Like, this happens, but you don't ever expect that football is going to become violent in the locker rooms or the,
yeah, no.
in the tunnel like that.
There's an expectation that there's an expectation of like professionalism in
Absolutely.
college
And of
sports.
course, it's a workplace, right? Like, at the end of the day, this is our career, and yeah, we're playing a game, but that's what happens, frankly, when 20-year-olds get millions of dollars and are freaks of nature.
Yeah.
There's not a lot
If
of
I'm
consequences.
like Michigan State, like I wouldn't even just suspend them, honestly. Like, yes, you don't want to hurt your football program, but like that's more than a suspension.
I would say that immediately you've all lost any scholarship you had, and you're no
Yeah,
longer on the team or in the school. But that's
yeah,
not
you're
how
like
college athletics works, as
no,
anybody who's ever paid attention to college athletics knows.
because the school values their team more than their
Because the
image.
school
So
only
like,
exists mainly because their fucking sports programs earn them billions of dollars. Like, that's like, come
I
on.
think it should be more than a suspension. It should be to the point where the division steps in, like the conference steps in,
Absolutely, and I'm sure they will.
and yeah, they
Like,
better.
there's a good chance these guys will face like charges. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like, they're gonna,
yeah,
like, the
they could
police are
literally face like
investigating. There
yeah,
will likely be an assault charge pressed if the
oh yeah, for sure.
players want it. Which, not for nothing, if 10 guys kick the shit out of me in a hallway, yeah, I'm
I
pressing
would want,
charges.
yeah, I'm doing assault
Sorry.
charges. Like,
Like, yeah, if one guy beat my ass in a fight, all right,
whatever.
fine. I probably deserve
But
that one. 10
10 guys,
guys
like,
kicked the shit out of me after a football game. Yeah, no, fuck you guys. Like, you
yeah,
deserve
like
whatever I
here's
can give you.
charges. Have a nice day.
So yeah, that'll be something that'll unfold. We'll have to keep an eye
We'll
on,
have
I
to keep
guess.
that.
Um, and final piece of kind of college football stuff going on. Auburn fires head coach Brian Harsin. Another of college football's head coach firings. I don't really know what to make of any of them. I'm not aware enough of college football, but I haven't talked about an Auburn game yet this year, so it makes sense why they'd probably fire a coach.
Yeah, considering they are one of the best schools.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So now we can get to the last thing that we've got to talk about today. We're not doing too bad on
Your
time, but
favorite baseball
I'll
event?
try and make this quick. Yeah, World Series. We're 2 games in. I forgot to even add when the next game actually goes. Okay. Game. I don't see game 3. Oh boy, this is a bad recap. Game. That's Astros Yankees. World Series. Game 1. Okay. Game 1, game 2. Game 3 is today at 8:03 p.m. Game 4 is tomorrow at 8:03, and then game 5 will be Wednesday, November 2nd. And that's looking ahead, but looking back at the 2 games we've already gotten to watch, well, I haven't watched them if I'm being completely honest with everybody. Game 1, the Phillies ended up winning 6-5, and it was a really exciting game. It ended up being a walk-off. JT Realmuto hit a home run in the top of the 10th inning. Luis Garcia gave up the run, and a consistent theme for his career, Justin Verlander continues to be bad in World Series starts. I think in 6 starts now, he's 0-6 or 0-5 and has like over a 5-point ERA or 6-point ERA. I mean, for one of the best in the history of the game, he is also one of the worst all time in the World Series. And it's disappointing. I'll say that. I want Justin Verlander to be good, even if I don't want the Astros to win. I want Justin Verlander to be good. But it's not necessarily the end of the world because Aaron Nola was also bad in game one. But the thing is, the Phillies bullpen, they haven't given up a run yet in the World Series. Zach Eflin and Ranger Suarez both pitched in relief. Zach Eflin has always been a starter, from my knowledge, but Ranger Suarez has an interesting story because he went from being a kind of nobody reliever to an excellent reliever to a late inning reliever to a closer and then to a starter all in the same season.
Jack of all pitchers.
Yeah, last year, the year before, he just burst into the Phillies organization as like, I don't care where I'm pitching, I'm going to get outs. And so I don't know. I mean, I like that guy. He's great. But Zach Eflin also coming out in game one was a little bit funny to me. But they did well. Nobody, as I said, gave up a run from the Phillies bullpen. So that was impressive. And then obviously with JT Realmuto hitting the home run at the end of the game, it was an emphatic first game for Philly. Kyle Tucker did have 4 RBI in that game, but nobody else for Houston was really that outstanding. And then in game 2, Astros ended up winning 5-2. Bryce Harper was hitless, and the Phillies bullpen again didn't allow a run in 3 innings. Altuve was the only Astro with multiple hits. He had 3, but it basically came down to the fact that Framber Valdez was just too good. He had 9 strikeouts and 6 1/3 innings pitched, and he only gave up 1 run and 3 walks. So he basically just said, no, Philly.
So, we're winning this. This is ours. We're winning that guy $125,000.
There you go. I wonder if they've seen that, So one of the reporters has to have shown them that tweet or something. Someone has to have seen
it, for sure.
As a player, do you think that even registers in their head? Like, do you?
No, I don't.
Obviously, it's not. It doesn't motivate you to now win or anything, but you just go like, "Oh, cool," and you probably don't even tell anybody.
Yeah, they're probably like, whatever.
For most of those guys, 125 grand is like not much.
Yeah, no.
Like, oh, that'd be fun. Like, oh,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So, like I said, game tonight, 8:03. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you can't watch that. Game tomorrow, same time. You can hopefully watch that. I hope you listen to our podcast the day they release. And if you haven't, come back in time. Let me know what happened so I can make some bets or something.
You trying to say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
And now for a little bit of MLB news. There's a couple things. We're going to start off with one of the big ones. Probably the biggest one.
Kind of weird to me when I saw this.
Really? This was weird?
Yeah, this was weird to me.
Oh, I thought this seems foretold in the baseball prophecy of old. This is like Old Testament baseball.
Gotcha.
Oakland is going to move to Las Vegas, Rob Manfred has said. I'm not surprised. The thing I remember most about Oakland this year was that there was an investigation by the Oakland police based on an image that came out from, I think it was like a television camera feed that panned the stadium or something. And in the top of like the 500 nosebleed as high as you can go in the stadium, there was what seemed to be a young couple having sex.
Oh, I remember that.
Because I think on average there was like 1,000 fans at those games.
Yeah.
There was nobody there. Like nobody came to watch. And that was on purpose. But nobody in Oakland wanted to go watch because Oakland is watch Moneyball. Oakland's notorious for not spending. They're notorious for selling anybody that means anything and trying to make it by with the minimum payroll in baseball. And the fans have grown tired of it because, yeah, Billy Beane made a damn good run and sure, whatever, but it hasn't worked since then at all. So I don't
So
blame
now,
Oakland fans.
once the NBA brings in Seattle and Las Vegas, every major sports team will have a Seattle and Las Vegas team.
Right? It's a strange turn. If you said that to either one of us 10 years ago, do you think we would have believed it?
Well, maybe because the Supersonics would have just been.
Sure, but if
Would've-
you told me hockey was going to Vegas, I'd be like, hockey's not even going to fucking last in Phoenix.
Yeah,
Like,
I would be like, hockey. There's no ice. You can't do that.
no. You're going to tell me football's played in the desert? And like, come on. And like, Arizona's in a dome or whatever. And I was
If
like,
you
I
told
don't
me
know.
the
Like,
Oakland Raiders were gonna go to Las Vegas, I'd be like, you're high.
yeah, it'd be like Oakland would riot. It would burn. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's strange, but I'm excited to see a Las Vegas. I don't know if they're going to be the Las Vegas Athletics. I kind of hope not.
I hope they kind of move on from the A's. I think they should just.
Well, the Athletics, not like it's not a storied and legacied franchise, but for not for nothing, it was the Philadelphia Athletics and the Oakland Athletics, and
Yeah, but like I think you move on from it now.
I think you do.
You leave it in history.
I think it's a rebrand. I think you go to Vegas and you embrace that.
Be the dealers or the blackjacks or the.
I like how you leaned on my dealers there.
Or the Aces. Actually, no, the Aces is already a basketball team.
It's a Reno Aces or a AAA team.
There we go.
So
Just steal them.
move them up. It's like soccer now. We're just gonna
The whole team too.
Yeah.
Not even like the whole roster. Not even.
I mean, it's in Reno. It's already there. Like, fuck, makes sense. Ranford also said that Tampa Bay is going to stay Tampa Bay, but, and I cannot be more excited about this, the Trop will be no more. They will be getting a new stadium. Fuck yeah. I hate the Trop. I refuse to play in the Trop in the show. I despise watching the Blue Jays play in the Trop. Everything about it's a nightmare. And it's kind of like, it's one of those things, like it's an attribute of the Rays team to be like, no, we have a shit stadium you all hate, and we hate it, but we know how to use it, like we know how to play in it. So it's our advantage now. Everything for the Rays is an advantage. Every single thing for the I don't care what it is, it's an advantage for the Rays. They just do it better. They just do it cheaper as well, so it's not as flashy. And that's the Trop. It's old, it's shitty, but it helps them win, it seems. It's fucking cursed for anybody who goes in there. So I'm excited to see what they can do. And I mean, you're in Florida. Have a pretty stadium. Have something that looks nice, right? Like,
yeah.
If you're about tourism, make me want to go to that stadium and watch a ball game, right?
Put like Miami Vice looking signs all over the place.
Yeah, make it just feel. I guess, but still, it'd be cool.
Yeah. Make it look
Put a
nice.
fucking 700-foot devil ray just over top of the field in the sky. That's what I want to see.
That would be sick. That would be beautiful. Cast a shout. The dome instead of a dome.
Oh my god, yes. Just have a huge devil ray shadow.
Whoever's doing the architecture for the new stadium, give us a call.
Yeah, we got some ideas. We can make this a real interesting franchise.
Yeah.
Royals hire Matt Quatraro as their next manager. Sorry, got nothing. Not gonna lie. And David Stearns, not David Stern, David Stearns with an S, steps down in Milwaukee. I believe he's their president of baseball ops or vice president or something. But it's kind of just known that like he's stepping down because he's gonna go be a brilliant baseball mind in a much higher position in another organization and make a bunch more money. Everything I read about him was just like, yeah, he's just like destined to be like a great baseball, like CEO, president, blah, 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 whatever. Like that's what he's meant for. So I guess that's good news. I'm excited to see where he goes and what he starts implementing, because it seems like he's kind of vowed as the man for the mission. Before I get to this next point, Nathan, because frankly, I think it's one that deserves the most to be talked about, I'm going to mention a couple other things. Nolan Arenado opts into the rest of his contract with the Cardinals, so he's going to be there for 5 more years. That's huge. Best third baseman in baseball? Probably.
Potentially, yeah.
I would say so. Potentially one of the best defensive third basemen in history.
Yeah. he's one of the main names that I know too. So
No, as you
if
should,
I know him
frankly.
very well, that obviously he's doing something to stand out.
Because Nathan knows quite little about baseball.
Yes.
Well, did for a long time.
Oh, I did. Now I know
I've
a
kind
little
of
more.
force fed you just so much shit about it. You got to know something at this point. And Citi Field is moving their right field fence back, and this doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but Baltimore moved their left field fence back, and it was drastic, but they moved it, and it overwhelmingly altered the stats of their pitchers. It also affected the hitters, obviously, as you'd expect, but it worked out for them. And what's funny about this, as I was researching, I think this is the third time since Citi Field was constructed that they've changed the outfield walls. And this is the first time they've moved them back.
Oh, okay. They want less home.
I think it is. I think it's the same reason Baltimore did. It's a matter of helping their pitchers limit the runs they're giving up. And
they just got to go get guys now who can hit dingers.
Well, they're doing it the way that Baltimore couldn't but should have. They're moving the right field fences back so that you can still entice right field or right-handed power hitters to come because there's more of them. Whereas Baltimore, you move that left fence back, now there's a lot of balls that were hit out there this year. Even just in the Jays games I watched, that would have been home runs last year. That weren't. They were just outs. So it scares away some right-handed hitters in Baltimore, but this will be good for the Mets. I assume that's probably why you change your stadium, so it'll benefit you. And I think it's cool. I like ballpark dimensions. They're weird. They're all different.
An interesting thing to me that you can customize essentially the shape of your baseball field.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if you look at some of the baseball fields throughout history, like Polo Grounds or Jay's original. The Jay, what's that name?
One of them had just a metal beam in the middle of it.
Oh fuck yeah! Old Yankee Stadium had concrete memorial statues of their Yankee legends just in the outfield. So I mean, oh god, yeah, but it's crazy. There's some stadiums it's like Polo Grounds, the corners of the foul poles are 300 feet and center field's 500 feet. There's just so much variety to them. I find them real interesting.
It's really interesting. I don't think it would work in any other sport.
No, you can't just have whatever going on a fucking basketball court.
Just random dimensions. Imagine just having a statue in the middle of a basketball court.
Imagine if on a football field, the middle of it was just a fucking hourglass. There's just you can the sidelines just come in, 60 feet. Don't worry about it.
You can only run down the middle of the football
you can
field.
only play down this tunnel on the field. It's just weird shit. And yeah, you're right, Nate. No other sport. I guess you could say golf, but that's kind of the point of golf. Every time you play it, it is supposed to be different.
I feel like.
But that's
when I say major, I mean major sports, major
hockey.
Sport.
That doesn't work.
No. Imagine you just try to deck someone to where a board would have been, and it's just
although I will say I could definitely see an X Games form of hockey where there's just weird, it's not, it's a rink, but it's there's only there's kind of laps to it, and there's obstacles and shit. There's elevated parts and jumps. I could see that. But
I could get behind that, a Crash Dice version of hockey.
Dude, I could totally get behind that. The more I talk about it, the more excited I am for it.
Red Bull Crash Dice. I miss Red Bull Crash Dice.
Dude, that shit was... you couldn't pay me to even go on that course, let alone compete in that event.
But watching people do it?
Mind-bending.
I would have had so much fun. If you have never seen Red Bull Crash Dice, go look it up on YouTube. It is one of the best sports ever. It's essentially guys doing downhill skating. And it's a race, but it's
dude, they're launching themselves off of jumps. There's huge berms on the corners and shit.
It's not full contact by any means, but there's no rule against.
No, but it's metal as shit.
You're going down.
And they're not it's not slow. They're going ridiculously fast.
Think Connor McDavid on a breakaway, but downhill.
Yeah, and
that's
15 feet in the air at some points.
Yeah, Like, and it's
Retarded.
beautiful. It is a beautiful thing.
It's so funny. It's like I watched a video on TikTok the other day of a guy jumping out of a fucking helicopter, like landing with the skis and going down a hill, right?
Yeah.
Like in the Alps. And it's
Yeah.
like, what? We're not supposed to do this. Like you had to invent every aspect of this to even accomplish it over like
Someone
hundreds of
had to
years
go,
of
"Oh, I
technological
could do that."
development. There's no part
Someone
of
had to
us.
stop. Like, this is a doable thing that I could do.
That's what I mean. There always had to be a first guy, right? Who the fuck was the first guy who thought that was even like what? I always say that about foods. I'm like, who thought a lobster would taste good on the inside, right? That looks like an alien.
Decided to milk a cow? Who milked the cow?
But who decided to throw themselves out of a helicopter with skis on to land on a mountain and then ski down a mountain? I don't get it. It doesn't add up to me.
Look at it either. Crazy.
All right, and now maybe one of the best things we've ever finished a show with. I think this is something we should finish every
I'm
show
looking at
with.
this graph right now. I'm looking at these stats. It warms my heart.
And the thing is, too, it's not the first time this guy's done this. Pat Hoberg, perfect game in Game 2 of the World Series as an umpire. I hate umpires, like, excessively. And umpire scorecard is one of my favorite things ever. I don't even know how accurate it can truly be called, but
It looks like atrocious.
this is the game Houston won 5-2, and Pat Hoberg had an overall accuracy of 100%. He called 129 of 129 taken pitches correctly. He had 0 runs in favor of any team, not even a 0.1 either way.
0 flat both ways. Beautiful.
They have, if you've never seen an umpire scorecard, they have the true zone and the estimated ump zone, it's called, the EUZ.
Those are my favorite things to look at. They look like Rorschach tests.
I love them. They basically
like
it shows the rectangle of what the true strike zone is, and then it shows kind of like the heat map of where the umpires were calling strikes. And it's hilarious. Some of these, there'll be huge pockets in the middle of the zone. They'll be like 3 feet out on one corner. It's so weird. His is just basically covering all of the zone. Like
his is nearly perfect. It's nearly like drawn perfectly within the lines.
And the thing is, when you consider none of those pitches on the heat map outside of the true strike zone were taken, because he didn't miss a taken pitch.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's very impressive. He had no impactful missed calls at all. 0 of 89 called balls were true strikes, and 0 of 40 called strikes were true balls. So fucking there you go. And it's funny too, because the average accuracy for called balls that were true strikes is 97%, and the average accuracy for called strikes that were true balls is only 88%. And he just blew hundreds across the board. So, God damn it, shout out Pat Hoberg, true legend. Like I said, when I was looking up this umpire scorecard, I saw other Pat Hoberg perfect games, or very close to perfect games. So, Pat Hoberg might be my favorite ump.
Yeah,
by far.
Retire his honorary number.
Yeah, absolutely. Hang that blue shirt in the rafters.
Yeah.
We should all aspire to be Pat Hoberg when we grow up. But that wraps it up, Nate. That's everything, my friend. And this is a biggie. I'm not gonna lie. Hour 30. Yeah. Look at that.
A little extra long ep. Not quite as long as last time, but you know.
No, but
it's out there.
I was surprised. I called that we were going to have an hour 30 ep. I said we'd be done at 5, and it's 4:59. So look at me go.
Look at that. Well, anyway, thank you for listening.
Once again, the Totally Offside podcast, as long as we can still call it that. I'm gonna, I think.
At Totally Off Pod on Twitter.
For sure. Of course. Interact with us here.
Tell your friends. Tell your parents.
Yell it from the streets.
Just
yell it from the
come out of your house and just yell.
Jump out of a helicopter with skis strapped to your feet and a banner strapped to your back that says our name. We'll shout that shit out.
Call some perfect
Go umpire a perfect game.
Games.
All right.
All right.
Thank you very much, everybody.